Welcome to Coffee with Crystal. Grab a cup of coffee and join me as I discuss the benefits of using Microsoft Word's track changes. Hi, I'm Crystal Joy, contemporary romance author of Completely Captivated, Completely Yours, Shackled Heart, and Shattered Heart. I thought it would be a really great idea to have a video about track changes. In my last writers group meeting, there were several of us who were really excited about what track changes is, and then there were several people in the group who said, "What's track changes? I've never used it before." And that gave me the idea for this video today because track changes has huge benefits. If you've never used it before, it does exactly what it sounds like. It tracks the changes that you make in Microsoft Word. How do you get there? So if you go to open, your document, open your novel, and you go to Tools in the top box, you will see, scroll down and you'll see track changes. So click on that. Once you click on track changes, there will be a little box that pops up and you'll have 4 different boxes within there that have check marks. And you need to decide if you want to track certain changes in your novel. So for instance, the first box is track changes while editing. I never check this one off solely because if you want to track changes while you're editing, that means you could be in the middle of a scene, and if you're adding or deleting sentences, it will immediately cross them off if you delete them. If you're adding them, they'll be in a certain color, like red or blue or green. And for me, that's really distracting. So I don't ever check that box off. However, I do check the last 3 off. So what those are, track changes, track moves while tracking changes, highlight changes on screen, and highlight changes in printed document. Highlight changes on screen just means that once you're making certain changes or you're writing comments in the margin, it will show up. You can see those comments that you're making. And highlight changes in printed document, that means that if you use track changes and you'd like to print your document, that it's really nice because if you have your whole rough draft and you want to print it off and you've used track changes, it will show all of the track changes when you print it off. So it's really nice too because then if it prints off that way, there's a huge margin on the sideline. There's a huge margin on the side. And so you not only see the comments that you made, but you also have all these gaps when you didn't make comments where you'll probably start leaving yourself written comments as you go through your rough draft. So that's how you use it. Like I said, you decide what you want checked off, what you want not checked. You just want to use something that's not very distracting, but different ways to see where your changes are being made. So why would you want to do that? Why would you want to use this? So for me, I came up with 2 huge benefits to using track changes. The first one is you can make notes to yourself. So I'm working on my 5th book right now, Stained Heart. It's the 3rd novel in my small town romance series. And I'm getting smarter with each book I write. And this time around, I'm making notes to myself using track changes as I write the document, as I write my novel. One of the things I do when I use track changes is I write down research questions. I always do my research first before I write the book. Well, not always, I guess. I've started to. I've learned from my mistakes, and I know that writing, doing the research first usually makes a better rough draft. So I did do my research first, but of course I always come up with more questions for the people who who are helping me do research for my book. So for instance, my hero is a firefighter, and my heroine owns a bed and breakfast. So I might, as I go through the book, different things come up, or I might add different scenes that I never anticipated. So in the margins, I might leave comments. So I might say like bed and breakfast owner, and then write the question, firefighter, then write the question. That way I can still write my scene, but leave those comments so that when I go back through my novel, I can start organizing my research questions and figure out who I need to ask them to when I start writing that final draft. Not only research questions, but I also use reminders to myself. So for instance, if I am in chapter 10, and I can't remember if a minor character has blue or brown eyes, or if I even acknowledged if this minor character had blue or brown eyes. I don't want to go back through the first several chapters of my novel searching for that detail, especially if it's not even there. It's a waste of my time, and let's face it, as writers, we don't need any other reason to procrastinate. So it's nice to set those reminders. Once again, those comments to yourself show up in the margin where I might say, look up if Ray has blue or brown eyes. That way, then as I read through my novel later, I can see what color of eyes he had, and it doesn't stop me from being in the middle of the scene going, oh, well, maybe I'll just take some time and look for it now. Well, then it takes up all of my writing time. As I mentioned in other videos, I have 3 kids at home. And right now, I'm actually stuck inside my house with my 3 wonderful children because of COVID-19. With the virus spreading, we are being very careful and we're not going anywhere. So my writing time is absolutely precious, and I don't want to waste, the couple hours a day that I get to write trying to figure out if a character has blue or brown eyes, because in the end, it really doesn't matter. I do want the detail to be correct before I publish it, but in the midst of writing chapter 10, I don't need to waste my time, and you don't either. So that's my first benefit of why I really love track changes. The second one is for a critique partner, your beta readers, or even a professional editor. They can use track changes. So you can send them your document through email, and then they can pull up your document, save it to their desktop, and start using track changes themselves. What's really cool about it is that every person who uses track changes comes up in a different color. So some people, their comments come up in red, some green, some blue. So you can actually see all the different comments. You can compare and contrast what your critique partner said to what your beta reader said to what your professional editor said. So it's a really great way to let other people make comments on your document. So same thing with like the comments. They can leave comments on the side, kind of like, what were you thinking? Or this detail is incorrect, or maybe you need to add more character development here. But they can also go in and they can add sentences. They can delete them, and when they delete sentences, they cross them off. And so you can see where they crossed them off. Now, the really cool thing about track changes, especially when someone else is making these changes, is then you can either accept or cancel their changes. So for instance, if they crossed off a whole bunch of sentences and those are like your favorite sentences in the book and you completely disagree, you can click cancel or delete to that comment and not use it. What's usually what I do when I get comments using track changes from other people, I save that document. So for instance, my critique partner, Janice Bookoff, I will save her draft with track changes, Janice's changes to Stained Heart. When I get my beta readers, I'll do the same thing. Beta readers, whatever that person's name is, Stained Heart. My professional editor, I'll do the same thing. And save it. So I actually, by the time I publish a book, I'll have like 10 different documents saved in my computer of the novel, but it'll be those changes. And here's why I do that. Because if I save their changes to my computer, maybe I don't agree with a comment right away when I'm reading it, but down the line, I'll go, oh, maybe that was a really good idea. I can't exactly remember how they worded it again. Then I can go back to that document and actually use it. The only time I don't save the document and I actually go through and accept or deny certain comments is at the very end when my professional editor goes through and she does copy editing or proofreading. Then it's great because my novel's done by then, and so all I have to do is either go accept and it will make the change she made, especially if it's like a little comma or quotation marks in the wrong place, or spacing. She's already fixed all this for me. So there's no reason I want to create a whole nother document of mine to go through and make sure that I don't miss something, because chances are I will. So my very last document, my final draft, I do go through my my editor's comments and I accept or deny. And it's literally, it takes me, about an hour to go through all the comments because it's really just grammar and punctuation. And I click. Usually I'm accepting it because, let's face it, my professional editor knows what she's doing. She sees those little small mistakes that I made that I can't see myself. So I click. Then I go, yes, I am done with my book. It is final. I can go ahead now and send it to my formatter. So track changes is very beneficial. If you're just starting out, use it, try it. You know, it may not be for everyone, but I think it is for most writers. I think it can be very beneficial. Have you ever used track changes before? I would love to know. Please comment below. Let me know if you've used it, if you have any questions about it, if I didn't explain something well and you'd like me to add more, I would be happy to help you. And, you know, if you've used it and you know more benefits, please add those because your comments are going to help other writers find those great benefits of track changes. Otherwise, thanks so much for joining me for a cup of coffee today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks so much for joining me for a cup of coffee, and I'll see you later. Happy writing.